Okay, so this stream has started. I'm also trying to lecture from a different room so that you might hear less noise from the streets. Yeah. So let us begin then. Yeah. So last class we ended at this stack data type. Okay. So we originally said consider a collection of integers stacked one on top of another. I said dosas, but okay, integers. And you want to be you want to restrict the kind of access you want to make on this collection of integers. Okay, there is a designated top. You want to only push an element on the top of the stack or pop an element from the top of the stack. Why is it called push or pop? You can imagine that there is some kind of spring mechanism which when you push on top, it will press the stack down. And when you take out one element from the top, maybe the weight will reduce and the spring will go up a little bit or whatever. So that's why push and pop. And so clearly, if it's let's say it's a stack of cups or whatever, you can only pull out the top thing and you can only push something at the top. You cannot reach in and take something in the middle. Okay, so so clearly out in the world you see many examples of stacks. In computer science, it turns out to be a very useful data structure. We'll see an application in this lecture. A very simple application, but actually stacks are very are extremely useful to even the fundamental operation of your computer. Maybe at the end I'll mention it. Okay, so you want to restrict access to this collection by saying by only allowing these operations, namely push, which is to place an element on top of the stack, pop, which will remove an element from the top of the stack. Okay, assuming that the stack is non-empty. The stack is empty, you cannot remove it, of course. So now you will notice the moment I mention this that the behavior is similar to list, where you can consider the head of the list to be the top of the stack, and pushing is just adding an element at the front. Popping is just removing the element from the front. So it's computing the tail. Okay. Okay. So therefore, a very an immediate implementation of stack would be a list of integers. Okay. And your push function is just int arrow stack or a stack. Push n stack is nothing but n colon stack. Pop will, assuming that your stack is non-empty, it will return the element which is n as well as the remainder of the stack which is st. Okay, is this clear? So there is nothing deep that is happening right now. So you can view a stack as a list and you are directly implementing it. But there is a this program is fine, but there is a design issue, and the design issue is that if you're saying that stack is nothing but a list of integers, then it is possible to do all these kinds of operations on a stack. Okay, stack 1 plus stack 2. Okay, even though when you want to view it as a stack, you want to allow only push and pop, you can do arbitrary list operations on a stack. Okay, stack 1 plus stack 2 will put together 2 stacks. Take n stack will just remove n elements from the stack, and take n minus 1 stack plus the singleton list x plus drop n minus 1 stack. What it does is to insert x at the nth element from the top of the stack. Okay, as you can see, right? So but you don't want to allow this. This is not a programming issue. This is more it's not that interpreting a stack to be a list of integers is wrong. It is that it allows a lot of things to happen. So it is a design issue, okay, rather than a coding issue. So you would like to somehow prohibit this plus, this take, etc happening on your stack. And the best way to do it is to not have type stack as a type synonym for list of integers, but as a new data type. How do you do new data types? By using the data keyword. But in the last class, I showed you that you can, if you have only a single constructor with only one argument, then you don't. So I said that you can think of the value constructors as boxes. And if a type has multiple value constructors, then these are all boxes of different colors. Okay. So constructing a value of a type is like putting the arguments inside a box of that color and saying that, okay, this is the value of this type. But in case you have only one constructor, then you have a box of only one color. All values will be some element put inside a box of the same color. And there is only one element put inside. Okay, so you might as well dispense with the box at runtime. Runtime meaning when Haskell actually implements these things, it needn't box these elements. Okay, so but you still want it to be a distinct type. The recall that I said that if you use a type synonym like this, type stack is stack equals int, then you can use stack and list int interchangeably. Okay, and in fact you can allow all this. I'll show you in a minute. I'll show this to you in a minute in code. You can allow all this. But if you say a data or new type stack and then introduce a constructor and then the argument is a list of integers, then you cannot actually do take plus plus etc., because these are operations on lists and not on the new data type that you have defined. Okay, so this is what we have, and here we'll simplify our this thing. In the code I actually wrote, I used maybe etc. for pop, but you can assume that you're only working with when you do a pop, you're only working with non-empty stacks. You can think of it like that. Okay. Now these things will give a type error. Okay, let us first check that these two claims actually are correct, and that will also yes, help you digest these ideas. So let me go here. Let me say first attempt type stack is list of integers. Okay, and then push is of type int arrow stack arrow stack. Pop is of type, let's say, stack arrow. When I actually program in the slides, I'm a little more permissive, but when I actually program, just so that you have practice, I'll have this maybe int kind of thing, maybe stack. Okay, for push, what do? Push of n xs is nothing but n colon xs. What is given error? Pop of xs is if null xs, yeah, then nothing, an empty stack, else just head of x. Head of xs and then tail of xs. Okay, so this is a reasonable definition, and yes, so now you can see that how do you create a new stack? Okay, so maybe we can have a thing for that as well, but there is nothing to create a new stack. I mean, you create a new stack by declaring it to be some list initially. So here I can come here and if I save the program first, if I come here and reload the thing, so please, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me at any point of time. Yes. So now I can say let stack one equals, I don't know, 1.100. Let's yes.
Sir, if you ask the type of an integer list now, will it return stack?
No, it won't. Because I mean, stack is the name of an integer list. I mean, if you ask what the let us check that in a minute. 1 second. Okay, so you can ask info of stack. See, it says type stack equals int. That's all. Okay. Now, but the point is that you can interchangeably, for instance, you can do this. Yeah. So for instance, new stack from list, let me call it list to stack. How do you create a stack from a list? You don't need to do anything, right? It's just ID, right? Yeah, but I can give it type list int arrow stack. I'll take a list of integers and make a stack out of it. But what is the functionality itself? ID. And you see that it type checks. Yes, ID, remember, is just this. What is the type of ID? It is A arrow A. So both have to be the same types. Okay. So Haskell automatically recognizes that list of int and stack are two names of the same type. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Right.
If we don't want to print that stack and still want to pop, then will the infinite list also can be included?
Yes, the infinite list will also be a stack. I mean, you can say my inf stack. You can say oh, sorry, I haven't reloaded it. I can say list to stack of 0 dot dot. Oh, sorry. It is already starting to print also. There is no need to derive shogi, nothing, because I mean stack is just a type synonym. You see, there is nothing at all that is special that you need to do. Okay, Vijay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, now this is fine. But okay, already you see that stack is nothing but list of integers, so you can do all kinds of nonsense with it. In particular, you can do stack one. Do I have my stack one still loaded? No. Sorry. So yeah, so you can say so here, yeah, it's best to always put it here. See, you are making no difference at all between lists and stacks. Okay. Something like this. Okay. And you can actually do stack one plus stack two. So you are allowing all kinds of list operations on stacks. Okay. And take 50 stack. Yes, you can do all this. So I said the thing is to not view it as a type synonym, but to view it as a, but to actually make it a new type. Okay. With a constructor, etc., etc. So let me comment out all this code and re-implement them. Okay. Okay. Now I'll say new type because I should be using data, but because it's one constructor and with one argument, I'm using new type. Okay. So please. And typically you will use the same name for the name of the type as well as the value constructor. Okay. Okay, so the name of the constructor is stack and it takes one argument which is of type list int. And yes, that's it. So push is int arrow stack arrow. Pop is stack arrow. Maybe int comma stack. Okay, and top, let's say why not? will return you just the top element. It's like returning the head. And I'll also do list to int, list to stack. From list, typically it will be called a list of integers to stack. Okay, let's look at the implementations. Push. I'll do pattern matching. N is the element I want to push. What does the stack look like now? What pattern should I go? Earlier I gave the pattern access, which was just a variable name that could stand for any list. Now what will be the pattern?
Stack access.
Stack access, right? Because it's just like if you are working with a maybe value, then the patterns are nothing or just X, right? So similarly here, where just there was the value constructor, here stack is the value constructor. So you use stack access. What will be the result? Can someone tell me? It should be a stack. All you're going to do is put N before access, but you have to wrap it with the stack constructor. That's it. Yes. Pop of stack access. This time I can actually do this. Pop of stack empty equals nothing. Empty list. Pop of stack x colon access equals just x access. Okay. Similarly, top of stack empty is nothing. Top of stack x followed by anything.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, yes, tell me. Srimati, right? Yes.
No, sir, Shubham.
Shubham,
Sir, in
sorry. Yeah.
Sir, in the pop function,
Yeah,
in the definition, shouldn't it be just x comma stack access?
exactly. Very nice. Very nice. Yes, stack access. Very good. Okay, from list.
Sir, shouldn't we write it on line 26 also, stack empty list?
Right, that should also be stack empty list. Yes, very good. Very good. So, what can somebody suggest? What from list should be? Give me a one-word definition for from list.
Access to stack access.
Yeah. So instead, much more simply, you can
From
say
list equal to stack.
exactly. That's it. Yeah. Here the stack is not the type, but the value constructor. Okay, great. Okay. That's it. You're done. Now, if you try to do, okay. So now how do you do this stack one, stack two? Let's do that. How do you build stack one and stack two? Same things. We want a stack consisting of 0 to 99 in that order. 0 at the topmost, etc.
From list 0 to 99.
Exactly. From list 0 to 99. Uh, 250 to 340. Great. We have all this. So now let's try to reload this. Okay, so let me ask what stack one is. You see the problem now. Earlier, if you just stack one, it would cheerfully print it, etc., because it was just a list of integers. Now there is an issue, right? Because you need to make it show EQ, etc. So whenever you do new type, just like with data, you can do deriving, and normally you will derive EQ and show. Okay. So now that you have done that, you can come back here, reload the thing. Yeah, you see that it has some default kind of show method. It will just write the constructor name and write the argument. That's all. Okay, that is the default show for all. Whenever you say deriving show, the show is nothing fancy at all. It will just write the constructor name, the value constructor name, and then all the arguments. Okay, so stack 2 is this. Now I can't do ridiculous things like stack 1 plus plus stack 2. See, it now says, oh, plus plus is not defined for stack. Okay, and you don't want to define plus plus for stack. Stack is something where you want to only allow push and pop. Okay, and extracting the top element, etc. Okay, nothing more. And right, so similarly, you can't say take 50 stack 2. It will again give an error. Okay, so this is the first level of improvement. Is this clear? What we have done till now? Yeah, we want to make it more abstract. Such things are called abstract data types. Okay, because you want to abstract out the you are providing your own data type with these operations, and it's abstract in the sense that the data type is defined by the operations that you support. So you will say that you can do push pop, etc. This is the behavior of push, this is the behavior of pop, etc. And that's it. There is no other way in which you can access the data type. Okay, all the access to the data type should be through one of these functions. Okay, such things are called abstract data types. Okay, but before we move on to abstract data types, notice first that we can actually make this a polymorphic data type, in which case you will have to add a parameter to the, it's no longer just a stack, but a stack A. So the stack now becomes a type constructor, and the stack on the right is a value constructor. Okay, this is a value constructor which takes a value of type A and produces a value of type stack A. The stack on the left is a type constructor that takes any type and produces a new type. Okay, so it will take int. For int there will be a stack int. For bool there will be a stack bool. For double there will be a stack double. For char there will be a stack char, etc., etc. Whereas the stack on the right, there is some typographic difference. This is like that is bolder letters. This is slightly different color and thinner letters. The stack here, the thinner stack is a function that will take a character and produce a stack of characters, etc., etc. Okay, whereas the thicker stack is one that produces new types from old types. Okay, so that's the type. This one is a type constructor, whereas this one is a value constructor. Okay, now I need to modify all this. Instead of this, I will say A. I will push any A onto a stack that consists of elements of type A, and then I will get that.
So can I have something?
Yes, please ask. Yes.
So in your new type declaration,
Yes.
so and stack A is equal to stack A.
Yeah.
The A on the left and right are also different, right? Because A on the left is a
No,
data type.
A on the left is a type. You know, the A on the left and right is the same.
But A on the right contains the value of the.
I know, but that is because the stack on the right is a function on values. Okay. Whereas the stack on the left is a stack itself is a function on types. But I mean, it's a
So it will take the type of the value. So it will take the type of the value. The stack on the left.
It will take a type and produce a new type. That's all. It won't take a value of a type. It will take a type itself and produce a new type.
So should the right side be listed, stack A equal to stack listed, or?
Very nice. This should be stack listed. That's right. Sorry, I made a mistake. Now this is actually very clear. Okay. Right. Yes.
Then when we are writing a deriving EQ show, A should be compatible with it, right?
Right. That is true. But you don't need to. A should also be showable, etc., etc. That's right. That will be caught here. So when you okay, we'll see. We'll see in a minute where that comes up. Okay. Right now it doesn't matter because you don't need to worry about it. Okay. Only when you write some functions that govern this, you will come. Let us, if you write your own small s show function, then that will come up. Or if you write your own equality function, then that will show up. Till then it won't show up. Very good question. Who asked this question about
Sir, Milan, sir.
Milan, yes. Wait for like 5 minutes. It will come up. Okay. Maybe
Okay,
not
sir.
5 minutes, but maybe half an hour. Within half an hour, it will come up. Okay. Don't do it. Okay. Let us first just correct this. So notice that it is the value constructor that takes a list of list whose elements are of type A. But when you write here, you are writing the type. The type is just stack A. Okay. You shouldn't write stack list A. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't make sense. Okay. And here from list will go from a list of elements of type A to stack A. And you notice that the code doesn't change at all. There is nothing at all that the code, see, the code completely type checks. Okay. Here, when you come here, you can actually say specifically that stack 1 and stack 2 are stack int. Is this clear? So I can just need to, I was able to change the type and make it polymorphic because the code did not depend on the type of the underlying values. Okay. So now I have this is polymorphic. Okay. And the slides explain these things very in detail. The stack occurring on the left is not a type, it is a type constructor. For any type A, stack A is a type. Okay, that is why it's called a type constructor. It constructs new types from old types. The stack on the right is a value constructor or a data constructor, as it is called, because it constructs new data elements from old data elements. Okay, from already present data elements. If you have a list of elements of type A, you can apply the value constructor on it and produce a stack of type A. Yes, so if XS is of type list A, stack applied on XS will be of type stack A. Right, now, yes, Milan, your question, right? Milan?
Yes, sir.
You had a question about, the underlying things should be showable, this, that, etc., etc. Okay.
Yes.
So you don't put any constraints here about what happens to the underlying elements. Suppose, but you will put it at the point where you write a function. Okay. Suppose I will write a function. Suppose I want to sum all the elements in a stack. Sum stack, I'm going to call it. Okay. What would be the okay. The type itself is general enough, but what will be your implementation of sum stack? Sum stack of stack XS should be what? Milan?
Pop stack XS.
Uh-huh.
Pop stack XS.
No, don't need to pop and all. XS you have on your hand. So if you have XS and you want to sum all the elements in that, what do you do?
Sum XS.
Exactly, sum of XS. But this will give you a type error. Why? Because how do I know that A will allow addition?
Okay, sir, I got it, sir. Yeah,
so what do you do? At this level, you put num implies. Now it will all type check. You see?
Yes, sir.
So do others understand this point? If anybody else wants me to repeat this or has any questions about this particular point, please ask me now. I'll give you a minute.
Sir, so is there no way to like limit the stack to be only of having values of EQA?
The point is that you don't need to, because you might have multiple functionalities on a stack, right? You might have functionalities on a stack which do not depend on the underlying elements being EQ.
Yeah.
Right. So you do all these restrictions only at the function level, not at the type level.
Okay, so even if everything requires EQ, you
put all the constraints at the function level, not at the type level. This is a good question because earlier versions, much earlier, I think several years ago when I learned Haskell, you needed to put constraints here. EQA implies new type of EQA implies stack A equals stack. I think even now it allows you to do that, or maybe it won't allow you to do that. No, it doesn't allow you to do that. Okay, for that you have to do some data type context. Yeah. So earlier it used to be a requirement. Now it is not. Okay. So you do the requirements of the function. Okay. Very nice. Okay. All this is fine. Okay. Good. So till now it's fine. We have made some progress. We have made it polymorphic. We have also figured out how to do we've also figured out where to put the type constraints, etc. like this. Okay, you have to put it at the function level. You can do deriving, etc. All this is fine. Okay, but there is still something that is mildly unsatisfactory, which is that suppose I have my stack 1 and stack 2. Let me reload my thing. If I do stack 1 plus stack 2, of course it will give me a type error, but I can do the following.
Sir, just for confirmation, sir, so if we had a program that takes the stack A and prints its first element, then we have to define it as show A, right?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Not prints it, yeah, or converts it to a string or whatever.
Yes.
Show for the thing is like that. Attach stacks. Yes.
I think I didn't understand that part.
Okay,
If
so
you-
yes.
So then what is the point of having deriving show?
Very nice. What is the point of having deriving show? Why do you say what is the point?
So because you said that you have to put show in the function anyway. But if all the stacks derive show, then
No. You don't need to put the function. I'll tell you in a minute. If you do deriving show, it will give you an automatic. Okay, so let me show you how it works. Okay, so I have this. Okay, so let me come here and let me say. Okay, so fine. I can create these two stacks. Okay, so let me go here, go to the program. I can ask type of int stack. This is the stack of it. I can ask for type of fun stack. Clear so far? Who asked this question?
yes, it's from.
Now let me just type int stack. It will show. Why did it show? Because stack A is showable. Okay, provided elements of type A is showable, it will show stack A. But let me now do fun stack. It will create a problem. Why? Even though I am saying show, I didn't do any implementation of show. Remember, I just said deriving show. Okay, so provided the components are showable, it will show it. If the components are not showable, it will not show it.
Okay, so
Is it clear?
yes, I think so.
You think so?
So if you put
no.
deriving num with that, then for some stack you don't have to do num A implies stack it would.
Exactly. No. Yeah. You could also say you could, but no. But the sum stack is not. The sum stack is just summing all the elements in a stack. I don't want to say num. Yeah, I could do that also if I want to. But then recall that you would have to give a Okay, so there is a difference between num and this thing. If you just say num, let us see what it does. It will say no. Why will it say no? Because it doesn't know how to derive a num. Okay, so this is the point. Okay, the point is this, that the point is this, that okay, so I'll show you. If A belongs to the type class show, okay, if A belongs to the type class show, then list A also belongs to the type class show. Okay, if A belongs to the type class EQ,
Yes, I think I realized.
if A belongs to the type class num, list A does not necessarily, does not belong actually. Why? Because you need to have a notion of summing two lists, adding two lists, subtracting one list from another. Doesn't make sense,
Yes.
right? But
Yes.
equality and showing does make sense, right? If each element in a list is showable, then the whole list is showable. You put a left square bracket, right square bracket, and put all the elements in between with some comma in between. For show, for equality, you check each element by element, and then that is equality of lists. Is this clear now?
Yes, exactly.
So you cannot just automatically put deriving num. Okay, but if you still want to have some cockeyed definition of num, then you will have to do something different, which I will show you in a bit. Okay, these are comments. Okay, so now is it clear? Now for the purpose of show, I can, now this is the point. If I said deriving show, if the individual elements are showable, then it will show the stack itself, like with int stack. If the individual elements are not showable, then it will not show. Is it clear? So int stack will print the thing, but fun stack will not print it.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, you got it. So let me move on. Yes, but let me, I was trying to tell you another important point, perhaps a more important point, which is that, yeah, I would rather call it attach. If I have two stacks, I cannot do plus plus, but I can write my own function attach and then put the plus plus inside the constructor. Yes. Is this reasonable? So if I am allowed this, why am I not allowed xs plus plus y is itself? Meaning, of course, it's not allowed because it's my typing, this thing prohibits it. But what have I gained by prohibiting a direct plus plus but allowing you to write plus plus inside the constructor? You see the point? I'm asking the main reason we went, I'm telling the main reason we went from the type synonym implementation to actually doing a new type data, etc., is that you shouldn't be allowed to do this plus plus kind of nonsense operations. But it looks like I'm still allowed to do it, except that I'll have to put it inside a constructor. So if I'm anyway going to allow it, why do this? I could have allowed you just to define stack to be just list A, you know. Yes, do you get the point? So the point is that I shouldn't be allowed to do even this. Okay, in 1 second, please. So the point is you shouldn't be allowed to do this. Okay, so that is the real point. Okay, in some sense you shouldn't even be a hello guys, sorry. Yes, so somebody has a question on the chat. I don't know why normal plus took more time. That I'm not able to tell. But do you realize the point I'm trying to make? That this plus shouldn't be allowed at all for a. In fact, if I'm going to provide you with an abstraction of a stack, then the only operations you should be allowed to do are, push pop. In fact, you can do an attach on the stack, but the way you should do it is you should somehow extract every element from one stack and then push it onto the other stack. Okay, that is all you are allowed to do. You can actually do it. You can extract one by one all the elements, put it into a list, and then push one by one all those elements into the other stack. That you are allowed to do, but not something like this. Okay, plus directly. Okay, somebody had a question. What was it?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
No, I didn't understand why we are trying to limit like stack. Why can't we do plus in stack? Like what?
That is because no, you can do plus. I am allowing you to do plus now. But so imagine that you are providing. This is a question about this is a point about software design. Okay, so typically when you so there will be one person who would have developed various functionalities of a stack. Okay, and they will provide it as a so-called library. Okay, and this is such a general purpose data type that anybody can use a stack. Okay, and since you are providing this as a library, you should try to make your code very clean and very clear and check it, etc. Trustworthy, make it all that. And you should say that you should be very clear, you should make it very clear to the users of your library exactly how it can be used. Okay, and importantly, you should for safety reasons, you should prohibit others from either being aware of the internal representation of a stack or from manipulating the stack in ways that are not permitted. Okay, that is just a question of software design. Okay, not it's a question of program design, not whether you can or whether you cannot. Okay, so of course we are just doing programs, we are just one single author, we are doing the stack, we are also using the stack. But in general, somebody would provide the stack and you as a programmer would be using the library that was provided. Okay, and then the person who provides the library will very clearly spell out operation A, B, C, D are the only things you can do. Nothing else you can do. And you can trust that if you do this, this is the behavior. If you do this, this is the behavior, etc. And you typically you shouldn't be allowed to have any other kind of access to the data type or the object or whatever is being provided by the library. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the notion behind what we call an abstract type, abstract data type. Okay. If it's just a normal stack that you are interested in, it is fine. But you want to provide this whole thing as an abstract data type. Okay. It is abstract because you are not telling what the concrete representation of the data is. You are just saying, I am providing you some data type. We call it a stack. It stores some collection. Don't worry how it stores the collection. You can create a new stack from a list. You can do this operation on the stack. Okay. That's all you can do. Is it clear, Srimati?
Yes.
Somehow, as I told on the chat, that somehow it's taking less space. But why?
What is taking less space?
The stack.
I don't know.
Appending to stacks.
I don't know. I'll have to check. Okay. I've not done that much profiling. So I don't know. I'll try to figure out later. Okay. Yeah. So now it comes to now we come to an important notion called modules. Okay. So even we are using various libraries, right? We are doing import this, that, etc., etc. Those are libraries that are provided by someone else. How do they create those libraries? They create those libraries using the concept of a module. Okay. Now, so let me create a module now. Stack. .hs. Okay. All that code I can write here. Okay, let me, instead of writing it, let me just copy paste from that. Okay, so yes, that's it. Yeah, so whatever code we wrote to define the stack functionality, we just put it inside a file called stack.hs and we define a new module called stack. Okay, module stack, and then we write all this. Okay, now what do we do in the main code? In the main code, let's say this is what will typically happen. Okay, in the main code, you will not be let me comment out all this. Okay, so I can actually remove all this. Yeah. Yes, so you'll immediately see that there are a lot of errors here because the stack is not known. Okay, if you go see, not in scope type constructor or class stack. So how do you bring it in scope? Any guesses?
Import a module stack.
Import the module stack, right? So that is what. One second. Let me all this commented out code. It's okay. I'll delete these commented out code. So because it's not so important. So this junk also I just added to the stack module at the end. Okay, so that's stack.hs, that's there. So you need to import stack. Okay. Okay. So here you are allowed to say what all you want to import from stack. See, it asks you to fill it out. I'll not humor it now. You immediately see that it is saying, no problems detected in the workspace. It's saying, okay. Okay. But you still see that you can still do this attach. I mean, remember that the main thing we wanted to do was hide the fact that stacks are nothing but lists underneath. Okay. But we are still exposing that. Okay. So the point is you need to control this from in the module stack itself. When you declare the module, you should say what all can be exported and what all should be hidden. Okay. That is the real point. Okay. So now a module consists of functions that are related to each other with some data type declarations, etc. The name of the file usually matches the name of the module. Maybe there is some difference sometimes. The module can be imported in any other file in the same directory. Okay. So that's what we are trying to do. So now we have saved all this in stack.hs, this code. Okay. In fact, I'm adding something empty, a new stack. So from list is this thing I'm providing. Empty stack is something that I can provide, which is nothing but stack empty list. And isEmpty is a check that I can provide. So the idea is nobody knows what the internal representation is. So you cannot just do pattern matching on stack, etc., etc. You don't even know what are all the type constructor, the value constructors. That is the ideal situation. Empty equals stack of empty list. isEmpty stack access is just checking whether null exists. Okay, so this much is fine. So let's get back here. This is also fine as of now, but we want to add more restrictions. Right now, you are still able to do the stack access ++ wise. Okay, and that is because you know that access is nothing but stack itself is of the form stack access, where access is a list. Okay, this itself you shouldn't know. Okay, ideally speaking. So, right. So the way you do it is to do something like this. You are saying stack push pop empty isEmpty is what I want to reveal to the outside world. Okay, let's do that. Module stack. And you say exactly what you want the outside world to know. The outside world, you are allowing them to know push pop top from list. All the functions you will usually export. Sometimes you will not export all the functions because certain functions are local. You just want them for your own local implementation purposes, but not otherwise. So you're doing this. But the moment you do this here, there is a problem. You see, it is saying, I can't even do this. It says the stack type name itself is not visible outside. Right? The value constructor is not visible. The type constructor is not visible outside. So how do you make the type constructor visible outside? You need to add the name of the type constructor. Okay, good. So now, the moment you do this, is it clear? In stack.hs, I am exporting whatever I want the outside world to know. Right now, I want the outside world to have access to push pop, top, etc., etc. But the outside world should also be able to declare new stacks, etc., etc. It will say it should be able to write functions of the form stack a arrow stack a or stack int arrow something, etc., etc. Okay, so that is what I am allowing here. Okay, so the outside world will now know. Will be able to use the type constructor stack. So it will be able to add these type declarations. But still this cannot be allowed because this, it will say it's a problem because why? What is the difference between the bold letter stack and the thin letter stack? Can somebody tell?
One is type constructor, other is value constructor.
Yes, value constructors are not exported. Okay. So when I say module stack, this is the stack, this is the module name. Okay, this is the module name. Forget that. I am telling what all to export. I am exporting the type name. Okay, but I am not exporting any of the value constructors. Suppose I wanted to export the value constructors, I would say I would put the type. I will put the type constructor name and then put whatever value constructors should be exported. I will put all their names. Maybe there are multiple value constructors that are present. I'll put all their names there. If I do this now, there will be not a problem. Okay. Do you see the point now? In fact, if there are lots of data, if there are lots of value constructors for that particular type constructor, I'll put ... It will export all the value constructors that construct a value of type stack. Okay. But I'm saying that in our problem, we shouldn't be doing it. We should only be exposing this, the type name, but none of the value constructors. And that is the behavior that we want, because we do not want anybody to write a function of this form, attach this stack to that stack, etc. So this attach shouldn't even be possible. Okay. And okay. And what about this int stack that I created? This is not even possible. But how do I now create a new stack? If I cannot use the constructor name stack, I should use from list. Okay. From list is exposed. Okay. So I can use that. Okay. So do you see the thing now? How to define a module, how to use it. Okay. You define a module by saying what all is exported. Outside world can see the type name, can see all these functions, but it cannot see the the value constructors. Because if you are showing the value constructors, you are also showing what kind of data representation you are using, and you might change your data representation for various reasons, which we will see in the next class when we look at queues. Okay, queues are the other kind of fundamental data type that you use. Okay, in computer science. Okay, so yes, so now okay, so yeah, so this is all about defining your all modules. Okay, now yes, so you need to export the type constructor, as I'm saying. But yeah, but that is because the value constructor has not been exported. You export only the type constructor, but not the value constructor. So you cannot do things like new stack like this. You have to do from list. Okay. Okay. If we want the data constructors to be used, then export those also. So now it will look a little confusing that I have 3 stacks here. The leftmost stack is the module name. This stack is the type constructor, and this stack is the value constructor. Okay. And in fact, yeah, in stack, the left stack is the export of the type constructor. The stack inside is the data constructor. In fact, if there are multiple data constructors, if you want to export them all, you do stack and within parenthesis ... Okay. So yes, so that is it. So now let me show you one. Now the time is 3:04 or some such. I'll take till 3:20 or so, and I'll show you how to use the one nice application of a stack. Okay. And what we do is something called postfix. Okay. I'll tell you what postfix is. One final thing. If you now come here and you are in lecture 22.hs, right? This let me save both these. This has been saved. So saved.
Sir, I actually had a question.
Yes.
This is about pattern matching. So here, I would assume that we wouldn't be allowed to pattern match using.
Wouldn't be allowed to pattern match at all. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, no, sir. So what I was thinking is because from list we defined as equal to stack, we just replace stack in our attach method with a from list. I would assume that doesn't work, but I'm confused as to why.
Once more.
So we defined from list as equal to stack,
yeah,
and we're exporting from list. So if we want
but you're only exporting from list, no, you're not exporting stack. Just because from list has been defined to be equal to stack doesn't mean that you can use the word stack here. You can use the data constructor stack there. You see, from list is a different function. It's not a value constructor, and you can only do pattern matching when you have the value constructors at your disposal.
Okay. That answers my question, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I
good.
was confused
Great,
as to
great,
where
very
to do
good.
that.
Yeah, very good.
Thanks.
Very good. Keep asking questions. Yes. Okay. Okay. I've saved all this. Okay. Right now only from list is being used, so I'm doing this. You can also control what all you're importing at the import side. Okay. But now even if you come here and say, oh, import all this, it will say no, I cannot import because those are not being exported. You see, I'm now saying I can say import stack. Yeah, but it say you see the error here. It says that the module is not exporting the value constructor, so you cannot import this. You see the thing? Can you read the error message here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you cannot do this. So of course you can import fewer things than what is exported, but you cannot import more things than what is exported. Okay, as that stands to reason also. Okay, so what did I do? Okay, so let me now move on. Yes, there is one final thing we have missed though, which is that if I am in leg22.hs, let me load my leg22.hs. Now when you load it, it will load both modules. You see, it is compiling stack first, it is loading stack, and then it is also loading main. But because your main thing that you loaded was leg22.hs, you cannot now use the stack function, etc., etc. So you cannot say stack of. It is a stack not available. Okay, data constructor not in scope itself. Okay, that's fine. But now you can actually do stack one. So if I just say stack one, it will print out stack one and it prints it out as stack followed by a list. Okay, so that gives you some idea about the internal representation. If you want, you can even hide that representation in this show. For instance, let me say that I want to do something slightly more fancy, like okay, so okay, if I want to implement my own show, then you won't be doing deriving EQ show. Rather, you will just be doing deriving EQ, and then you will say, you can even come here, instance yes. So whoever asked a question earlier about so who asked a question earlier about showable, etc., etc. Does this make it very clear?
Yes, sir.
If you are not doing
Yes.
deriving automatically, you have to define your own instance. So you will, this is the syntax for it. You will say instance show stack A, but of course you cannot show a stack of type A unless A itself is showable. So you'll say show A implies show stack A. Okay, where you, to make it part of the capital S show type class, you have to define the small s show function, and the small s show function will turn any object of type stack A to string. Okay, that's what you want to do. So I'll give you the type declaration right here. Show is stack A arrow string. But this is not enough. I need to be able to, here also I need to say show A implies. Or not. Yeah, I need to have that. Okay. That and this. Okay, it says don't even bother with this. Okay, let me not bother. Okay, so I should convert it to string, and okay, so let me convert it to string using this fancy show. Provided, oh, I wanted to do this right there. where so this is a list of elements that I have. I don't know what to do. I will say something I have in the slides. Yeah, I want to do something stupid like this. Instead of writing it a stack and then within square brackets 1, 2, 3, I want to just put some 1 arrow, 2 arrow, 3, let's say. Okay. And okay, so what I'll do is I'll map show that will convert every element into a string, and then this intercalate will basically do this. Okay, this is a string, this right arrow. I'll put that in between every 2 elements in the list. Okay, in the list of strings that I have. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll say fancy show access is intercalate this particular string on map show on access. Okay. Fancy show equals intercalate this on top of map show. Now I need to import that as well here. Import data.list. Okay, so that's it. Okay, I'm able to do that. Now I can again, so now notice that I have not changed anything in leg22.hs. All the change was internal. Now anytime I do, so let me do a reload my leg22, it has compiled stack. Now if I do stack 1 again, see, do you see the difference? I mean, not that this is better to read than earlier, but at least I can do it this way so that you don't even see what the internal representation is. Okay. And this will also answer your questions that you had about how exactly do you do, I mean, should A be showable, should A be not showable, etc. etc. Okay, great. So now, so till now it was all just some simple stuff, setting up everything. Let me use this in an application. So I want to do something like this. So a postfix expression is an arithmetic expression where the operator always appears after the 2 arguments. Okay. So for instance, here is a postfix expression. The main reason for using postfix expressions, it's used internally in the representation of arithmetic expressions inside some computer programs like compilers, etc. The main reason is that you can avoid parentheses. Okay. So 3 plus 5 times 8, you can interpret it in 2 different ways. And this tells you that, okay, interpret the 5, the multiplication, do the multiplication first and then do the addition. Okay. Rather than 3 plus 5 and then multiplying it with 8. Okay. And this can be clearly stated here because you're saying 3, 5, 8 star plus. Okay. So how do you interpret it? You go, okay, that's a number, this is a number, this is a number, this is an operation. So it applies to the previous 2 things here. Okay. So now you have 2 things, 3 on the one hand and 5 times 8 on the other hand. And you see a plus, oh, and that applies to 3 and 5 times 8. Okay. So 2, 3 plus 7, 2, likewise, you go 2, 3 plus, oh, the plus applies to the 2 things that came earlier. So 2 plus 3. Then you do 7, 2, the plus appears to the 2 things that occurred earlier. So it's 7 plus 2. Now you have 2 plus 3 with you and 7 plus 2 with you. Now the minus applies to those 2. So your ultimate expression is 2 plus 3 minus 7 plus 2, which is minus 4. Okay. So every postfix expression can be converted uniquely to what is called an infix expression, an expression where the operator occurs in between the 2 arguments, but you need to put parentheses, etc., to disambiguate, to tell which order the operations should be interpreted in. Okay. And the way to do it is start with an empty stack of expressions, scan the postfix from left to right. If the symbol is a number, it is itself an expression. You push the expression on the stack. The symbol is an operator, you bracket it with the top 2 expressions on the stack. So it is very convenient to use a stack to do this. Okay. Similarly, using stack, you can evaluate postfix expressions. Okay. So start with an empty stack of numbers, scan the postfix expression from left to right. If the symbol is a number, push it onto the stack. If the symbol is an operator, then pop the top two elements of the stack, apply the operator on that and push it back. Okay. So this is what. So now based on this, you can have a very simple calculator program. Okay. So this is the idea. So now I'm showing you how to use a stack in a non-trivial program. So I'm saying import data.list. Fold L prime for whatever reason. Okay, we can go over this tomorrow also, but I will briefly look at this. So now your expression will be a, let's assume that your expressions are all either an integer or a character which denotes plus or minus or star or whatever. So it is the components of your expressions are so each component is either a number or a character. So it is easy to define it as a data. Okay. So in computer science, you call it tokens. You say data token equals, it's either a value of type integer or it's an operator which is denoted by a character. And your expression itself is a list of tokens. Okay. So let's just install these definitions now. So data token is either value which is of type integer or it's an op which is of type character, which is specified by a character, and your expression is nothing but a list of tokens. Okay. Now that that is done, why is it giving an error here? Type expression. This is just a type scenario. Okay. Okay. Now this is the important thing. You want to you want to evaluate an expression? To evaluate an expression, you will firstly you will do the step function. If you already have a stack of integers, and if you are getting a new expression, not an expression but a token, what should you do? Okay. So here is what you should do. Step stack, and if you are encountering a value, a token of type value, I mean val n, the value n, you should push n onto the stack. So which means that I need a push here. I need a pop also here. If it's an operator which is given by C, then if C is plus, then I shall push. I should push n2 plus n1 onto the stack. What is n2 and n1? We'll come to that in a minute. If it's minus, I should push n2 minus n1 onto the stack. If it's star, I should push the product onto the stack. Let's just restrict ourselves to these three operators. Okay, why not? Let's also use divide. Okay, where n1 st1 Okay, so for the moment, I will not have, am I doing all this maybe nonsense? Okay. Okay. Okay, I can do this. It's fine. Pattern matches are non-exhaustive, but I don't care about that for the moment. Finally, I want to evaluate an expression, and evaluating an expression is simple. I'm going to assume that expressions are all properly given, etc. So eval is nothing but first of pop old L prime step empty. Okay, so I'll dispense with this maybe, etc. etc. So it's okay if there are some non-exhaustive patterns. Okay, these are only warnings. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so this is the kind of thing that you do. Unfortunately, I don't want to rush through this because there are still a few more details. We'll actually do it on when we start the next week. The slides are here. You can go through the slides. When we come next week, I'll clean up the code and we can actually go through it. And are there any questions so far? So basically, I want to tell you how to use a stack, and this is one of the canonical uses of a stack. Okay, to evaluate arithmetic expressions. Okay, we can discuss more in detail in the next class if you want to. I'll upload the code. I'll also upload all the slides have already been uploaded. So try to go through them over the weekend. There is a question, we can address it when we meet in the next class. Okay. Other questions now? Any? There are some issues here because of non-exhaustive patterns and whatnot. I'll fix that. Okay. And that should be doable soon. Yeah. Anybody has a question?
Sir, what is colon I of int?
What is?
Colon I of int, info of int.
Where is it?
I mean, sir, last class we learned how to define things, right? I mean, day and
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
so I was thinking, like, can we define integers?
Can you define what?
Integers.
Integers are already there, no? Why do you want to define integers?
I mean,
You want to define your own integers? Yeah, you can. But
Yes, sir.
I don't think we have enough power now to. I mean, I don't think we know enough Haskell now. Even I don't know enough to give a complete definition of integers, the kind that you want as a true data type of, ab initio or something. Yeah, we can actually do. Okay, in the next class I will show you how to do natural numbers. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, etc.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I can do that in the next class. Okay, good. I'll do that and then we can get back to this queue business. Okay. In fact, I think that is one of the examples. That would be an example of a recursive data type. We will be quickly getting to that in the next class. Hopefully, next week we will definitely get to that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Anybody else?
So here we
Yes.
have valint and operation car, but this car has only 4 values and you don't want anything else to be given. So is
Yeah,
there
I
any
know.
way?
I mean, the char is some too generic here. I'm just giving a simple thing. I only want to allow plus, minus, star and divides.
Is there any way to put those inside the as
Yeah, you can
different
actually do
values?
it. No, you can actually do that. You can say that each token is either a value int or it is. You can do it like this, or it is div, not div, add. You can do this. And then what I'll do here is for val int, I'll do that. For step add, I should do this whole thing. See the point?
Yes.
But for every definition, I need to now do. No, I can actually do this. Otherwise, T. Okay, so type expression data deriving EQ. Let me say. And now step st of t means token. Okay, and I can just say, instead of saying char etc., I can just do directly. If t equals add, then do that. If t equals sub, then do minus. Yeah, this is perhaps better.
Yes, okay.
Now we do that.
But then the plus minus thing won't be there.
Yeah. Now you are precisely allowing only this. Okay, and yeah. Where is a maybe? Oh, it's just that I have not compiled it properly. Do I still have some maybe something somewhere? Couldn't match int with the type maybe it says. Oh, okay. Okay, now at least it's only complaining about patterns or non-exhaustive, etc. I don't care about that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is at least is a program that will compile, and you are fine with it. We'll see the rest later. Okay, why exactly this logic? Maybe I'll use my iPad and draw figures for you to understand. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Okay, I've already gone 9 minutes over my stated this thing. So yeah, so thank you then. Yeah, have a nice weekend. See you next week. Yeah, I'll try to upload. I'll upload this program. I'll also try to create one more exercise so that you have some practice with IO, etc. Okay. Okay. Bye then. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.
Actually, as a very quick thing before we finish, why is it even complaining about pattern matching here? Haven't we done everything? Or have we missed something?
I don't know. It's saying some ST. I don't know really. I have to go and check. So stack.stack empty, etc. I don't know. Yeah, it shouldn't be complaining. I'll fix it and before I.
There's no empty stack, I think.
No, but I mean, I'm just saying ST, no? How does it matter? ST stands for any stack whatsoever.
So what if the token is empty?
Token is not empty, no? Token is either this or that.
Oh,
We're all
okay.
complaining only about the stack part of it. I don't know. Yeah, I'll figure out and tell you. Yeah, okay. Okay, of course it should complain here. No, it's complaining about that here actually. The stack
Okay,
thing is
thank you.
complaining about it here. See, the point is here that I'm only doing it for stack x:x is not for stack empty. What I should actually be saying is, but I don't want to do it inside a library. So pop of stack empty, I should be saying is error. Okay, now it won't complain. But of course, you have to tell users of the module that they should never apply. Oh no, you needn't even tell them. When they do it, they'll get an error. Okay, now at least these errors are gone. Now there are some 3 more things which I don't know. I'll have to go and check. Yeah. Somewhere it is complaining about errors. I'll figure out. That is because, but I'm just saying step STT, no, not even doing anything fancy. Yeah, anyway, let me figure out. Yeah, I'll figure out and tell you. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, bye-bye. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, see you. Okay, so I'll stop sharing. I'll stop the stream.